So wow, just wow, here I was going about my boring ass Monday when Postal 4 is released literally out of completely nowhere. Literally nothing at all. I was just checking my subscriptions and there you go, here's a launch trailer and the game's available now in early access on Steam. Wow. Well, it certainly made my Monday. Now, I don't usually look at early access games since they are early access and subject to change, so this is not a review by any means. I just thought I would take a small look at the game and its current build and provide some feedback. The very first thing I will say is that if you are not a fan of Postal 2 to begin with, well, don't even bother with this game. I might be getting ahead of myself, but if you have not liked Postal in the past or have never played Postal in the past, this is not a good place to start. I would recommend you play Postal 2, and if you don't like Postal 2, then you won't like this game either because it plays very similarly. In fact, it's really trying to mimic Postal 2. Now, Postal 2, I think, is a great game and is one of my favorite shooters of all time easily. I have played through the game a number of times, so I'm very familiar with Postal 2 as well. I love the game, so obviously I couldn't wait to play this. And now that I've played through what is the game currently in early access, I can tell you that they're more than on the right track. This is a very, very early build of the game that offers maybe an hour, hour and a half of gameplay like max. The game takes place many years after Postal 2 and its DLC. There is a nice recap actually. It again stars the dude and his dog Champ. They're out in Arizona and, well, their trailer gets stolen from them because they forgot to lock it up and the dude loses all of his shit. So it's up to them to get some money and get back on the road. The game takes place in Edenton, Arizona, more like the Sin of Arizona. It's a good setup and it's exactly what I would expect from a Postal game, honestly. I can't wait to see how it plays out in the full release. The gameplay is basically identical to Postal 2, just with a bit more modern graphics and a few small improvements. The game is an open world first person shooter where you are dropped into this open environment and can do whatever the hell you want. You're always given an objective or two or three that are all really basic and mundane for the most part. In Postal 2 it was stuff like getting milk. Here it's cleaning out a sewer, literally cleaning shit, watching prisoners. It's pretty basic stuff. But then usually something wacky happens or some crazy people come after you. Or you could just ignore all of that and go on a rampage and kill everyone, which is much more fun in my opinion and is one of the main appeals of Postal. I mean, it's even in the name. These goals have no time limit. It can be completed whenever the hell you want. The dude himself is basically exactly the same as he was in Postal 2. He can carry as many weapons as he wants. He has an inventory system, can kick anyone at any time, and will spout random nonsense. You still don't regenerate health. You have to find health items located all around the world. Weapons are plentiful as there is a decent amount already in the game, including 2 pistols, an AK, a shotgun, grenades, liquid nitrogen gun, pigeon bomb, and even more. There are some staples missing such as a rocket launcher or the crotchy dolls, but I'm sure they'll show up soon enough. The gunplay feels very basic. It feels basically the same as Postal 2, but even slightly less refined. The aiming I thought was a little off and not so tight or smooth, but it's early access. I'm sure it will get better and smoother. Enemies actually die when they get shot in the head, unlike Postal 2 also. The violence, while still really janky, is still as gory as ever. It's over the top, it's hilarious, and I love it. Usually you fight just other humans, and I just love how gory it is. There is even some items you can get in the game, such as the cat, which is a silencer for your weapon. You can take some drugs, you get hella high, and there's even more. But a lot of the appeal of Postal 2 is just walking around and doing some goofy shit, and that carries over to Postal 4. Walking into someone's house, literally just kicking the door open, killing them, taking their shit, exploring around areas, or when you're just doing a mission, just getting into some goofy stuff, entering these stupid number codes. It's as juvenile as it gets. And that's always been one of the big selling points in Postal, is just how juvenile and just offensive it is in many aspects. Obviously, at the moment, Postal 4 is not as bad as 2, but I'm sure it will get there soon enough. It's already pretty much there from a violence standpoint. For instance, you can just drive around in these little carts, which is new, and just run people over, and while it does look janky as hell, and is pretty glitchy, it is pretty funny. But if you like Postal 2, you will most definitely like this. I will say though, there isn't very much to do in the game right now. There's only a few objectives and that's it. I'd pretty much seen everything in the game by about an hour and a half. It's barely even an alpha. It's really like a prototype. And this is most obvious when it comes to the performance and graphics. The performance in this game is actually just atrocious. I cannot describe how terrible the performance is in this game. I am kind of surprised with how bad the performance is. If you couldn't tell, this game looks like fucking shit. It looks like a game released maybe on the 360, but that's it. So the graphics don't exactly look that great. And even at its highest graphics, it really still doesn't look that great. To be honest, Postal 2 didn't look very good when it came out either, and it's just a classic. And you know what? I'm fine with the game not looking very well. I just want it to run well, actually. And I'd rather have it look like shit, because that's just kind of the charm of Postal, but I'd rather have it look like shit and run. This game just looks like shit and runs like shit. It runs horribly, computer was lagging, crazy frame drops all over. You name a PC performance issue, and this game probably has it. The only thing I can say is it supports my resolution, which is wonderful. I have ultra wide. The game even supports Xbox controllers, which is a lot more than I thought it would support. But the performance is horrible, my game looked awful, and this was just to get a stable 30 FPS. If I would turn the graphics up any more than that, it would be lagging, slowing down, stuttering, pausing like crazy. No, it was bad. It would be my main reason to not recommend the game right now, is just how horrible it runs. And I have a decent graphics card. I have a 970. This just runs awful. The game looks awful, but like I said, I really wouldn't want it any other way. Textures and characters just frequently glitch out. Clipping is a major issue. The textures themselves are just beyond ugly. The frame rate is terrible. The animation is just dog shit, and it's just atrocious in many aspects, or just glitches out, and the game overall just looks severely outdated. From a graphical standpoint, it's awful, and from a performance standpoint, it's even worse. The sound doesn't fare all that much better, with basically no music outside the menu, and maybe some atmospheric music. To be fair, Postal 2 didn't really have any music either. The voice acting is pretty hit and miss. A lot of the voice acting is actually reused from Postal 2, which I'll be honest, I don't really have a problem with. Much of the voice acting in Postal 2 is pretty funny, especially the screaming. That will just never get old. There were plenty of original lines that I noticed throughout the game, and I thought these were fine. There really wasn't enough to comment on. I just didn't hear enough of it to properly give an opinion, but a lot of it made me chuckle. But some people just had the stupidest shit to say in this game, and it just has to make you laugh.
My uterus!
I do have one major issue with the sound though, and that's the dude's voice actor. It's not the original guy from Postal 1 and 2, or at least it doesn't sound like him. I don't know why they don't have him. I don't know why they have some other dude, and I mean, he's fine and all, but I want the original guy back. That's who I've associated the Postal dude with forever, so please, bring him back. Change this. Like, I'm not a fan of this at all. I don't care how great this guy's voice acting is, it's not the original guy. And if I had to honestly change one big thing about the game, even more than the performance and the graphics, it would be to change the dude's voice actor. Please, put it back to the original voice actor, unless it's not possible. Like, I just was not a fan of this new guy, like, at all. The sound effects, from what I heard, was pretty alright, but again, a lot of them were reused from Postal 2, which I really have no problem with, as I love them, and I love Postal 2, and I'll continue to love them here. If you couldn't tell, I'm kind of biased towards the stuff from Postal 2, but like I said, I love the game. I need the new stuff to hear. I need to hear more of it, really, to grade that, and I haven't heard enough of it. When it comes to issues with the game, besides the performance and graphics being my biggest issue, I can say that again, that there's really not much to do in this game, nothing past like an hour. It's very, very early access. Like, we're talking, like I said earlier, a prototype. That's what it feels like. There just isn't really any content here. Don't get me wrong, I'd probably rather have this than waiting a few years after this initial announcement of the game, but you need to know what you're really buying with this game, and what you're really buying is you're supporting running with scissors, and will play the game in the future rather than now, because there's really not much actual product with the game. There's really just not that much to the game. There's not much content. There is still some fun to be had here for sure, and I really like where they're going with the game. It's just like Postal 2, except a bit more modern. You could still be an absolute douchebag. It's violent as hell. It's still pretty offensive, and it's just all around fun, really. And I'm very excited for the future of Postal. I really have been waiting for years and years for a new Postal game. We need one now more than ever, it seems. So I'm just very glad that one has been announced, and like I said at the beginning of the game, if you like Postal 2, you'll love this game. But if you don't like Postal at all, you're not going to like this game. The game is full price $20, but it's on sale for $18. And like I said, if you want to support the development of this game, I'd say go ahead and buy it. But you need to know what you're buying, because you're really not buying an actual game. You're kind of pre-ordering it, and this is like a alpha demo, it seems. I can't properly give an opinion on it, because like I said, it's early access, but I am really excited for what the future holds. And I just wanted to get my thoughts out here real quick on the game, because I liked it. I played about an hour and a half of it, and I'm just still totally shocked that it came out on this just random day with no prior announcement, really at all, especially in a day and an age where everything just gets leaked. The game is violent, it's Postal, it's everything I'd want. It's just what first-person shooters need in modern times. It was very fun. So that's it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, share, like, sub. You know how it is, guys. Have a great Christmas.